So immediately I notice a legato and a glissando, especially on the downwards note. So the last note, he slides. Everything he sings, but especially in this high part, is very connected. Every note is connected and dependent on the next one. Chris has a very unique vibrato and this kind of smooth aggressiveness to his voice. He also uses the nasal resonator quite a bit when he sings. He's one of a kind. But what we can do is learn how to sing this clean without too much vibrato, then add vibrato and aggressive kind of distortion later on. Alone! That would be clean, then add aggressiveness. Alone! Alone! And that's maybe overkill. So try finding the balance is really hard here. I'm playing around with it. Alone! So maybe something like that. That was my short video on how to sing like a stone by Audioslave and their amazing singer Chris Cornell. Now, I'm a classically trained singer. I have a master's degree in opera singing and stuff like that. So distortion is not something that I've really dealt with too much. I find that concept very interesting and I would like to learn more about it. So this is basically me documenting trying to learn like a stone in real life. This is how I would go on about learning a song like this, because there are so many nuances to his voice, so many interesting distorting details that I don't really know if I will be able to do, but I'm definitely going to do sometimes things a bit bad, sometimes things good, and hopefully I will be able to tell you what to avoid and what to maybe do when singing this song. So join me on this journey. It's probably going to be funny as well. And let's see what we can learn from Chris Cornell.
On a cobweb afternoon in a room full of emptiness by a freeway, I confess I was lost in the pages.
So let's break it down a bit. What I notice when I'm listening to Chris is that he has this kind of lazy style of singing, but it has so much energy. Now that tells me one thing that I've learned about distortion just by watching some other people break it down. Distortion usually makes you think that you need to push and to give a lot of volume when you're doing it. But it's actually completely different. Like distortion itself makes this sound that's distorted, you know, it gives you the voice that already has more power to it just by listening to it. It's kind of hard to explain, but if you give too much volume, if you push too much air, you're actually going to have a louder voice, but it's not going to go into distortion. Or if it goes, it's going to be a very heavy distortion that's kind of difficult and maybe not even the healthiest. But what you need to kind of do is actually hold your breath in and kind of do a like a fry sound, you know, like holding the air in. So this Chris Cornell's approach to being lazy is actually well on point here, because if you want to achieve this kind of tone, you definitely don't need to push more than you need to. I kind of imagine like just having a very small hole here, like very small amounts of air are going through your vocal cords, but it's actually more kind of in holding your breath in. So I will try to do the things that he does here.
On a cobweb afternoon in a room full of emptiness by a freeway, I confess I was lost in the pages.
Only that Pages is very different, like all of the rest is kind of in the same manner, so it sounds like on a cobweb afternoon in a room full of emptiness like a freeway, I confess I was lost in the pages. I noticed that he kind of explodes on that pages, but still this sounds more classical to me than rock. But let's continue and hopefully I will get it better in the later part.
Of a book full of death, reading I will die alone, and if we're good, we'll lay to rest anywhere we wanna go.
Of a book full of death, reading how we die alone. Of a book of death, reading how we die alone. If we're good, we'll let it rest anywhere we wanna go. You know, still sounds classical to me more than rock.
Lost in the pages of a book.
Of a book. He also has this kind of nasal approach to his singing, but it's just enough nasal to have his voice sound very powerful, but not too much nasal to make it sound like a dying cat or something. But I think going into that territory might help me a bit. So, of a book. Actually, let me try to overdo it, then to dial it back down a bit. So, overdoing it would be of a book full of death, reading how we die alone. You know, that's definitely not pretty, but we can learn something from that. So, of a book full of death, reading how we die alone. If we're good, not God. If we're good, we'll let it rest anywhere we wanna go. You know, so playing around with that. Let's listen to see what he's going to do in the chorus.
Any house long to be room by room.
So this is what I find interesting. He does very quick glissandos, just small slides like da, na, na, you know, very quick ascending glissandos, and I think that helps him achieve the distortion and this kind of heaviness in the higher part. I think it would be a bit harder if you just jump directly to that note, but if you slide a bit, starting just a bit lower than like pushing it up a bit, but not pushing like in a bad sense, I think that makes it kind of easier. Let me try to listen to it and repeat it. Very short.
Long to be room by room, patiently.
So amazing. Just his voice is so brutal. But his vibrato is also perfect for this song. Let me try to do something like this. One thing that I definitely understand that he's not pushing it. He's not singing in your house, because that would be too much and that would be very throaty. He's very relaxed. He's really doing it from the diaphragm. But one thing is he's really taking advantage of that kind of higher position a bit. Higher backwards position. It's hard to explain, but it's definitely playing around with the part of your nose, but not going too much. Still keeping it kind of fairly backwards. And distortion, as I understand, is backwards. It's not pushing it like I did previously, because that sounds awful. So it would sound maybe something like in your house. So that would be kind of clean, but I need a bit more vibrato there. In your house, I long to be. As I said, I'm not very good at distortion, but this is why I'm doing this. Let me listen to it one more time. Damn it, he's too good. In your house,
Long to be
I long to be
room by room,
room by room,
patiently.
Patiently. adding grittiness there. Like a stone,
I'll wait for you there alone.
I'll wait for you there. I'll wait for you there alone. Huh. I'll wait for you there alone. You know, he really has a very unique voice. Like this is, it's so hard to imitate him. That's what made him so unique. But just trying to pick apart some of these details that he does, even if I learned just 5% of this, I would be kind of happy. But let's continue listening. Maybe I figure out something else.
And on my deathbed, I will pray to the gods and the angels like a pagan, to anyone who will take me to heaven.
And on my deathbed, I will pray to the gods and the angels like a pagan, to anyone who will send me to heaven. Like, it's never gonna be there, but
To a place I recall, the sky was bruised, the wine was bled, and there you led me on.
but man, he's such a good singer.
Heaven,
So I've noticed another thing. There's a lot of those explosive T's and P's.
to heaven, to a place I was there so long ago, and there you led me on.
But in this part, there was only that T.
Who will take me to heaven,
To a place I recall, I was there so long ago. The blood was blood, the wine was blood, until you led me on. I don't think that I'm doing any too much distortion, but at the same time, when he's doing this kind of more lower register part, he's not doing too much distortion, but it still sounds very gritty and a bit more nasally in his singing.
anyone who will take me to heaven,
Heaven,
to a place I recall.
to a place I recall, I was there so long ago. The wine was, what's the lyric there? To a place I recall, I was there so long ago. The sky was bruised, the wine was bled, they led me on. In your house, I long to be. You know, I can do the notes. It's not about singing the right notes. I think it's more about nailing the feeling, nailing the position, because I've sing this a bit more chestier than I believe it should be.
The sky was bruised, the wine was bled.
It's very difficult to find the right balance with Chris.
Round by round, like a stone.
So this definitely sounds way better with the backing vocal. It just has a bit more Like the harmonies are really supporting the main track here, but still, it's his voice that does the most for this song. Do you hear that kind of Could that be the thing that can help me? How to achieve it? That's the question. But I'm pushing too much, I think. But it's there's that, and I don't know how to do it, and it makes me angry.
Blood, and then you led me on. Yeah.
It's like he's coughing on a very high note, which I don't think that I know how to do. Oh man, I'm losing my voice, and that's not a good sign. It means I'm going to the red, and you don't want to be in the red. So I'm going to dial it back down a bit, maybe listen to him a bit more. But one thing that definitely helps when I'm doing this is when I go a bit more nasally, and when I focus more on the vibrato, I think I can nail him a bit better. I can kind of come to that place, although I can never really sing like him. But as soon as I start thinking like, oh man, this is too loud, I need to push more, it completely stops. And this, I don't know how to do it, but I wish I knew. I wish I had an idea how to do it.
You led me on. Yeah.
Maybe if I back it down a bit, so. So that's actually quieter than when I did it before, when I pushed so much. So it's actually doing it backwards. Dude. It's not like it's hurting too much, but I can definitely not see myself doing it for a full song. That it would definitely mess me up. So there has to be another way. It is there somewhere, but I also need to kind of incorporate the humming part of the song. And I just thought that I figured it out. Oh, so hard.
Round by round, patiently, I'll wait for you there, like a stone. I'll wait for you there, alone.
Okay, so he darkens it up a bit, kind of rounds it up a bit. That's something that I've definitely been missing in this whole part.
Wait for you there, alone.
Alone, alone, alone. I think that was kind of the place. So it's very interesting. Like Chris is a master of this. It's not just again, I'm saying I'm not good at distortion at all. But it's not just doing the fry. It's not like just singing. It's definitely kind of actually a kind of a classical roundness of the voice, like singing. You know, kind of making it a bit rounder, but also adding that kind of distortion, adding that. The way I think when singing Chris is that he does his distortion through his vibrato. I don't know how you will take this, but I kind of control the distortion by the amount of vibrato. Maybe that's not the best thing to do. I'm not sure. Again, distortion, I'm definitely not my strongest singing style, but I want to learn. And I definitely figured out something like that. I need to round it up, but also add a distortion. And in this way, I don't feel it hurting at all. It's actually very uplifting. It feels very kind of nice and easy to sing.
Wait for you there, alone.
You know, you can hear it. Alone, alone. So again, very cool thing is that it's a bit backward. It's not alone. It's not frontal that much. It's more like a bit close, a bit more rounded. Alone. You know? And then you just add a bit of that distortion in holding the air out, not letting all the air out, you know. And it's definitely not a warm compression. You should not sing it like alone. Whenever you have too much air coming out, it's usually a sign of something bad happening. But this is more like alone, alone. Give me a second, I can do it. Chris.
You there, alone.
Alone, alone. I can't really tell if I'm doing distortion in a good way or not. I mean, it doesn't hurt, but I don't think I'm not sure if you can hear it enough. That's why sometimes maybe it's because of the headphones, because I'm not listening like this. But sometimes I feel like I need to do a bit more distortion to have this kind of sound. But at the same time, I'm afraid to push it because I don't want to damage my vocal cords and stuff like that. But you need to fool around. This is the only way that you can learn. You need to sometimes go into that red and back it down. You know, sometimes you will get a bit tired, but as long as you don't push it like hours and hours, I think you should be okay. Not even like, don't even push it for 10, 15 minutes. If you see that it's hurting, dial it back down. Take a couple of minutes, like talk like this, figure it out. But it's like, alone, alone. Something like that. I'm mildly satisfied with how that sounded, so let's go to the next part. Man. Just when I thought that this part was maybe a bit easier than he does that last part. Definitely still in this kind of lazy kind of singing. I can almost see him like singing this with a head downwards. And why I say that is like, you should definitely avoid singing anytime and lifting your head up. Because then you're making these kind of veins pop up and using the neck muscles more than they should ever be used. So if you listen to any kind of like rock singer, you could usually see that their neck and their head is a bit downwards. Even like, I don't know, AC/DC, anybody, like Axl, anybody. Just like you have that, they do their head a bit downwards because it makes them kind of focus on their voice a bit backwards and a bit higher, I think. That's kind of the idea that I get. And definitely when I listen to Chris, I have a feeling like he's almost sitting down and just like singing like this. And he has a guitar. I have a feeling he's very relaxed. And I watched a lot of his footage. So definitely that's kind of the way that he sings. So I will try to sing this kind of in a lazy, powerful way. But definitely still singing. He's not like whispery. He's not like semi-singing. He's definitely singing and distorting very calmly. I would call this kind of a calm aggression. Very, very unique to him.
And on I read.
And on I read until the day was gone, and I sat in regret of all the things I've done, for all that I've blessed and all that I've wronged. In my dreams until my death, I will wander on.
Gone and regret.
So a lot of these slides, that kind of gives me this lazy feeling as well. But that's what makes his voice sound like his voice. Like, oh, that I'm wrong. No, I said in regret all the things I've done. You know, done. Something like that.
It was gone.
Gone, gone. You know?
It was gone wrong. On the arm.
But that's very interesting. Like, I will wander around. So I think I've kind of nailed the laziness part of his voice. So I will try to sing this part one more time, and I will try to experiment in my sort of way. So I will try being very lazy at first, then I will try adding distortion a bit more, just to see how far I can go without pushing it too much and getting into my like throat. I don't want to distort it from my throat too much, because then it hurts. I want to keep it kind of backwards and kind of more in a singing, relaxed position, because I think that's a way more healthier way to go on about. Let me just hear the first note.
And on I read.
And on I read until the day was gone, and I sat in regret of all the things I've done, for all that I've blessed and all that I've wronged. In my dreams until my death, I will wander around in your house, long to be. Why did I sing like? I mean, he does a bit of that glissando as well, but I don't think it's that much. Ugh. Okay, maybe one more time this last part, just to see if I can nail it. I will wander around. I will wander around. You know, not the same as him, but I'm not completely dissatisfied with this one. I don't know. It's okay.
Long to be patiently like a stone. Long.
Dude. Whew. One thing that definitely comes to mind when singing Chris is if you open too much, if you kind of open your voice a bit too much, it's gonna suck. So you have to really find a way to keep it very kind of rounded, closed, but just enough open to have that kind of grittiness. You know, if you open it a bit too much, it turns into shouting. Then you start to push your like chest voice very high, and it doesn't sound like Chris anymore. It sounds like, I don't know, belty classical singing, I guess, something like that. But it's very hard to do it in that sort of way. That's why you will never hear too many covers of this song. It's very unique. It's very hard to nail this feeling. There are singers that can sing these songs, sing these notes, but I've only heard maybe one or two cover on YouTube that really nailed it pretty much. You know, like, I'm not saying anybody should copy completely Chris, but there are things that if you just leave it out of the song, it just loses a lot of its essence. Cornell is like a master of this.
On the on in your house, along to be.
Babe. I like how he sings babe. Like it's not B, it's like babe. More like a B-A than a B-E.
Room by room, patiently.
Ah man, I love that song. Love that part.
In your house, long to be. Room.
For some reason, that room is so hard to sing completely in the kind of mask area. I just have this need to push it like room, like very chesty, while he's doing it like completely different.
On the on in your house, long to be.
Or maybe he's doing it also chestier, like beltier, but he's kind of doing it very quickly that I almost don't even notice it. So,
In your house, long to be. Room by room, patiently, I'll wait for you there, like a star.
too much neck, too much from the throat.
I'll wait for you there.
That's what I'm saying. Like, as soon as I do it once or twice from the throat, I lose like 30% of my voice. And I just can't keep up the song like that. Maybe it sounds like cool at the moment, but it's so dangerous, so dangerous. So it's really like a perfect balance of finding that place. Chris is just amazing. I'm gonna try to do it one more time, very relaxed. But man, this song's killing me. I imagine doing like the full song in one take and doing it so well like Chris. It definitely takes practice and repeating and lots of listening, to him and figuring out what he does.
On the on in your house, in your house, alone, in your house, alone to be. Room by room,
Watch. I'm losing faith in myself sometimes when I'm doing this, but it's just a part of learning. One more time. It's interesting because I finally found that place where he sings the chorus, but now this part is, it's different. It's a bit more chestier and kind of aggressive. It is a bit more in the throat, this part, but not that much. I still need to not push it too much.
in your house, in your house, in your house, I long to be. Room by room, patiently, I'll wait for you there, like a star. I'll wait for you there, alone. Alone, alone.
when I'm doing this alone, it's not hurting as much as that patiently. That's the hardest part. I think I'm gonna stop there for today. I hope you enjoyed this experiment. If you did, please leave a like, share this video, comment. Let me know if this is a interesting kind of format that you would like to see more on this channel. This video is surely going to be demonetized because I'm using copyrighted music for an example, in this case the vocal track. So if you can support in any sort of financial way, it would go a long way, more than you might realize. I know that the times are tough for most of the world right now, but trust me, it's no different here. The prices are so up, it's like scary bad. But yeah, there's a link in the description where you can treat me to a cup of coffee, or if you want to support on a monthly basis and get these videos before anybody else and also earn some other perks, check out my Patreon page for more. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.